Okay, a lot of reports, a lot of information in this video, but essentially I want to talk about the possible consulting crash, or at least I think they're going to be heavily impacted by Gen AI. So first off, I just want to highlight that McKinsey did something they rarely do. They cut thousands of jobs in back-to-back years, and not just analysts. We're also talking consultants, support staff, specialists, even performance managing consultants were out. Let me show you what I think is happening at the moment. So this is a piece by HR Digest, and they reported this McKinsey cut 500 jobs in 2024, following 2,000 in 2023. That's like 5% of their workforce gone in 2 years. And this almost never happens at McKinsey. And then what's kind of buried is that the UK consulting market saw revenue shrink for the first time since the pandemic, down 3.4% in real terms, according to one of their sources, reported in March 2025. Then there's this other one, it's the Management Consultancies Association. And this is again UK. In their 2025 report in January, they show UK consultants were slashing growth expectations from 11% to 6.4% for that year, which is the lowest since the pandemic. And then you've got Management Today that was confirming March 2025 data, basically saying it's behind a paywall, but it's basically saying despite the AI hype, consulting firms are struggling to essentially convince clients that they're still needed. I do think the industry is in denial about what's coming, or maybe they kind of know and they've made decisions for it. So we can even go to this McKinsey piece, right? McKinsey themselves. The research reveals what it reveals about AI and consulting. So their own January 2025 report was admitting that employees believe AI is going to replace like 30% of their work this year, right? That's 3x more than leaders realize. And then you've got this nice little detail. It's from this really cool Medium post. So remember that analysis showing that BCG experiments delivered 30 to 40% efficiency gains for junior analysts using AI? IBM already has 160,000 consultants using AI agents for automation. And then there was that piece from BCG in April 2025, closing the AI impact gap. Let me just accept this one again. And they were benchmarking, essentially it was a benchmarking report. And the study revealed that the real problem is that AI remains a top priority for C-suites worldwide, but they're building capabilities in-house instead of hiring consultants. And then this one from Aura. So this was Aura's 2025 industry benchmarking report. And it showed that AI job postings were up 18.8% year on year. So we're in-housing the capabilities. And then another twist, kind of a twist, it's that they're at tech companies and in-house teams, right? Not at consulting firms. So the message is pretty clear. And I've seen this too in my transformation practice, and I've seen it with the clients that we work with, even in our ventures. Tech companies, they're in-housing teams, not consulting firms. And the message is pretty clear. Companies want AI expertise. They just don't want it from consultants anymore. So the idea is that, consulting, it's like, I'm very being kind to consulting. It's a pyramid scheme. It's built that way with the juniors and then the partners, et cetera, et cetera. The leverage model that built consulting is possibly now sort of destroying it. Business Because was reporting in their January 2025 analysis that MBB firms, they're hiring at lower numbers than previous years. Campus recruiting, usually they hire a lot on campuses. It's down across the board, right? And then there's Leland. They had this December 2024 consulting timeline. It was showing firms opening applications later and closing them faster. These are clear signs of reduced hiring needs. But then you've got kind of, I don't know if you want to call it the death blow, but you've got this piece over here by Global Growth Insights, and it's from February 2025. And this one was showing that the global consulting growth projected at just 3.99% annually through 2033. That's barely above inflation. So actually, when you're thinking in inflation adjusted terms, that's like zero real growth. Then there was also PwC, their global AI jobs barometer, shows kind of the paradox. And it's that, I'm on a new session here, sorry for all the cookies. 92 million jobs are going to be displaced by 2030. But 170 million new jobs are going to be created. So they're kind of like the optimist of the AI job transition. Every transition, you've got job destruction, job creation, and then it's the transition period that's difficult with technological revolutions. You have that with mobile, you had that with computers, you had that with mechanization, agricultural revolution, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the issue for the consulting space industry is that those jobs, they're not going to be in consulting. I really don't think they're going to be in consulting. And the MCA consultancy.uk data shows that 30% of firms became CHMC accredited in 2024, desperately trying to differentiate themselves as commoditization accelerates. So even the optimistic forecasts are grim. The City AM analysis shows that, again, it's in the UK. UK consulting expected to flatline after years of double-digit growth. So essentially, the growth is starting to reduce. It's starting to flatline. Now, what did some of the smart players do? They started to pivot. So the FANG, or the I can't remember if we say GAFA anymore or FANG, but essentially Microsoft, Google, Amazon, they're not just selling cloud services anymore. They're selling AI transformation, basically consulting without consultants. You saw OpenAI do something that's similar. And according to McKinsey's own 2025 report, the clients, they're buying. Even traditional firms are adapting. So BCG, their 2025 analysis show that their lowest performers got a 43% boost from AI, while top performers improved only by 17%. So the message is clear. AI doesn't augment intelligence, it replaces mediocrity. And consulting, we know it, has a few layers of mediocrity. That's kind of how it functions. Now, here's what 2025 data tells us about a potential timeline for disruption. So Prep Lounge's 2025 update said that the experienced hire recruiting now happens year-round because firms can't predict their needs anymore. So essentially, like, let's open this one. This one was really good too. I just got to go through the Cloudflare. This is because of a new session. Entry-level jobs are facing like 50 million at risk. So entry-level jobs face 50 million at risk. Workers aged 18 to 24 are, I think the number was 129% more likely than those over 65 to worry AI will make their job obsolete. So I think that like the timeline is going to look something like this. 2025, the growth continues to slow. And then 2026, you're going to have, well, in 2025, more stealth layoffs, what we call stealth layoffs. 2026, you're going to have the first major firms admit fundamental model change, consulting firms. 2027, consolidation begins. And then maybe 2028, this is going to be my prediction, like the big five or the big four, it's going to become the big three and then become the big two through merger or through pivot. That's a pretty bold claim. I hope it doesn't age like milk. And by 2023, just traditional consulting is dead. Only specialists survive. I think the writing's on the wall for the consulting industry. Why? Because we're starting to commoditize knowledge work, and we're starting to commoditize, the creation of deep reports and a lot of that more junior analyst work that used to take place. And what's got value now is that industry expertise, that critical thinking, but a lot of the entry-level jobs to be done that was being done by the consulting firms, they've just been commoditized, right? That's what these LLMs do, even if they are predictive models. A lot of what we do as humans in our cognitive work is also basically predictive. So let's call it maybe the uncomfortable truth. And this one's always fantastic every year, right? The Future of Jobs report. It was pretty clear. 41% of employers plan to reduce workforce in the next 5 years due to AI. And I know we've seen a lot of numbers come out that the first pilots from AI transformation projects have been disappointing. But I also think it's a lack of focus, and they haven't focused on the right pilots. And I think we tend to be too impatient with any technological change. We tend to be really, really have unhinged expectations in the short term, but then the wrong expectations in the long term as well. And typically, Gartner hype cycle, the real ROI comes in the medium to long term. So again, coming back to this number from the January 2025 World Economic Forum report, 41% of employers plan to reduce workforce in the next 5 years due to AI. Consulting firms, they're not immune to this. It's going to happen to them too. It's happening at the moment. And, their job was always about information arbitrage. AI just does it better, faster, and cheaper. I do think there's going to be some sort of consulting recession or maybe even a consulting crash. I think it's coming. And I think the firms that are recruiting right now on campus, they're hiring like the future unemployed people. So, if you're in consulting, I would say you have like 18 months probably to pivot, learn AI, join a startup, or start building something that's a bit more real. Because when the pyramid fails, I think it's taking everyone with it. And I just think the writing's on the wall, except for the partners. They already sort of cashed out. That's just my view on things. And then, let's see. I hope this one doesn't age like milk, but I would say that the golden age of consulting is over. And I tend to repeat this. I think that we're in the golden age of the builders and the SMEs, smaller organizations, and the stealthier startups and scale ups and smaller sized organizations. That's it.